Sam Tolbert, Sound of Joy Music Services, and this is a rare Friday evening. Sometimes I don't know when I'm going to plan to go live, depends upon what I happen to be thinking about at that time. Let me just check my mic setting. But I felt like going live. I've been in the question whether or not I should start creating Midi files again, because so much music now that I have been doing has been geared towards um, live playing that they're almost forget that for the better part of the beginning of when I started going online, I was creating MIDI files for churches who didn't have a musician. This gave them an opportunity to have almost a full band of musicians for basic songs. And I still use MIDI when I am creating in Pro Tools because it is so easy to make to have a moment, I should say, when you're playing, and then you make a mistake, and then if when you play it live, to recapture that moment is almost impossible. But in MIDI, you can correct a mistake yet still keep the moment. So I'm going to cover what that is like. You're seeing my Pro Tools screen there with me, I should say. Let me just bring that down a little more. Okay. That's my working screen for my Pro Tools. So if you have any questions about MIDI production or what I can answer about Pro Tools, I'm still a learner in Pro Tools. I don't know a smidgen of what the professionals know, but I'm always working to get better. This is the page that I always work from. I always start up in the songwriter template. It gives me preset instruments, it gives me preset files for male, female vocal, audio, and a click track headphones. It's sort of a working template versus those who have their own template. I do have one I use for gospel music productions, but when I want to just jump into something real quick, I'll go to the pre-formatted template. Let me just do some housekeeping. As you know, I always like the people to want to make them feel welcome when they come to my page. So I'm do a little typing right here. I'm a former IBM typewriter technician from the 70s, so I learned to type by learning how to fix machines. So I sometimes marvel at the fact I know where the letters are, even though I didn't get any formal typewriter training. And it's sort of like playing the piano. I never had a formal piano teacher, sit me down and tell me this is where your fingers go. Let me just turn off some of the windows that got open somewhere else, so I don't have to hear that noise. But as I learned to get the actual muscle memory to playing, you don't have to show me how to form a chord or how to get to that chord all over the keyboard. Muscle memory has done that for me. So, and I'm also sharing this page on my Facebook site. Let me just bring that up so I can make sure that it is airing there. Go to my page. Trying to become global, you might say, not just streaming on YouTube, but also streaming on Facebook at the same time. Okay, I see that it is up and running. Let me just mute the sound so I don't get feedback. All right, so I am up and running on my Facebook page also. So those that are on Facebook, if you want to leave a comment, then um, come to YouTube, or it should direct you to this YouTube page, and you can ask your questions there. So the MIDI production. MIDI is musical instrument data interface. I learned that when it first came out, that the computer could mimic the sound of, at that time, very limited amount of instruments. It began to grow over the years from just a piano to drums or to rhythm instruments and then to bass as they began to mimic the files electronically. Not like the VST where we have now. We can almost get the actual live sound of a bass or a horn from a wave file of that particular instrument sampled. But it gave an avenue for for musicians to play what they felt at that moment, and they could actually go back electronically and look at it and see, where do I need help in a particular chord. And for myself and thousands of musicians getting into this environment, they could now record without having used a cassette tape or any type of recording device. We didn't have computers as we have now, but those that did have access to computers were able to now record their actual sessions. And I did have an opportunity in the early parts of my MIDI production where there was a home studio creating a song, and they needed a song played behind a vocal, and they sent me the vocals on a. They actually somebody sung it over the phone, and I played the file while they were singing on the phone. Then I emailed that file to them, and they were able to use it. And I says, "Wow, this is where I can see technology going, where you can have somebody sing to you. As a musician, you can create a song in the same way that they're always going to sing it, and then you can email that to them." So I've been participating in this world of electronics since the 1990s, and having a ball, and I haven't stopped. I haven't stopped. So again, you don't want to hear me keep talking. You want to see me create something. I've set up a basic track. I've already set the tempo. I'm going to use the song "Just Want to Praise You," and then what you'll watch me build instruments around it. If you blow up your screen, you'll be able to see. I can't use the mouse because I have to do something. I think I can highlight the area. See if I can highlight this. No, I can't. I can highlight that, but there's an area where in Pro Tools, okay, I'm just highlighting this, straight up above this area, you can actually see the chords. It'll actually show you, let me see if I can show that. Yeah, okay, you see an F chord, you see a B flat over F, E major 7th chord, F over E flat 6. Pro Tools will name the chords out to you as you play them, so that if you were questioning or wondering, did I play the right chord at this particular measure, you can look at that. Well, let's get going. Let's use the key of F. I just want to praise you. Let's get our record turned on. Now, because I want to build, excuse the side of my face, I'm going to turn a little bit. Because I want to build the chords around this, you're going to hear me do a little bit of just chording, because I'm going to add an actual bass track beneath it. And I'm only going to do 8 measures of it and then loop it, just so that I can get a feel for if I want to change something. I'm just in my head now going over my chords. Do I want that chord, or do I want this chord? Do I want that chord? So in the actual mode of doing actual productions, you are thinking musically, what do you want to be able to do, knowing that you don't have to play every instrument sound. Who joined us? Hey, how you doing, CL Wright? Orlando, Florida. Thanks for coming in. If you have any questions during this process, again, as I always say, I'm not locked into what I'm doing. So if you have a question, please feel free to post it there for me. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. All right, so let's get this started. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and. Bum, 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 bum. Mr. No. And right there. So there's our what did it give me? 17 tracks. Okay, 17 tracks. So now I'm going to okay, this always happens whenever I get to doing something. Batteries in my mouse just went bad, but I always keep a charged pair waiting. I'll let this play while I'm changing the batteries. Oh, you know what? I can't let it play because I can't move the mouse over. Hey, what's that doing open? Okay, so let's hear what I've just put down. And first, yeah, what I wanted to do was to loop this. So I'm going to, if you're watching, that allows me to loop this around, so to just keep playing. So this is what I have so far. Remember to charge these. Now there's a mistake in there coming up. So let's see if I can go in there and fix that mistake. I think it's right about here. I'm going to open up the Midi editor window. Screen should change in a second. Oh, you can't see the Midi editor window I just opened up. Let me add a window because this is important. Window capture. We'll name this. Alright, so that is the Midi editor window, and that's where my mistake is. We'll let it play through so you can hear the mistake. Alright, let's highlight the mistake so that it doesn't sound so messed up. So there's my mistake. Now, what did I wanted? Those notes weren't the correct notes. Should have been a G flat chord there. So let's see if I can come in here and fix this. Let's hear what it sounds like one at a time. Should have been a C. Let me hear it in the context of what I was doing. dum, and okay, I was gonna, in my head, I was going to have another instrument playing there to double that chord. Let me bring me up so that I don't be hidden in the background. There we go. Now you see me. So I gotta fix a mistake here. Let's take out this cut. Let's see what it sounds like now. Dum, 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 dum. There's a bad note in there. That note. So we're gonna move this note to right there. And let's see if it fits now. 2, 3, 4, 1. Maybe that's where it should be. 2, 3, 4, 1. All right. Now I'm not hearing what I was going to do there. So let's see what I did here. 2, 3, 4, 1. All right. I'm going to try and fix this before I change it, because this is very important. Who joined us? There's anybody else here that's joined us. Let's see if I can recapture in my head what I had going on there. So let's go back a little more. Let's go back to here. So if there's an offending note there. See if that takes care of it. 2, 3, 4, 1. Do I want to see there? Nope, didn't want to do that. Bring that back. Let me see what we got. Let's get rid of this note. Cut. I think that's the note that's offending my ears. 2, 3, dum, dum, and that's the chord that's out that I want in that spot. All right, tell you what. Let's bring back that note and send it down. Get that note to line up. Come on, line up here. All right, let me turn on something. Okay, let me back this up. Should be able to bring it up if I'm quickly down. No, don't move it. I'm trying not to slide it over. This is where mouse skills come into play. because the timing is a little bit off. I can't line it up unless I turn on slip. Right? Is it slip? There we go. And let's see how we sound now. 2, 3, and Okay, because another instrument will be finishing that chord. Okay, so let's get out of the MIDI editor. Can always bring it back if I need to. Alrighty. So let's see how the rest of it sounds. Go back to the beginning. And let's go 2, 3, and so fixing in MIDI notes. As I say, you don't want to have to go in and change everything real time. I'll live with that because there'll be more other instruments. Take me back to the beginning. So let's come out of the piano and let's put in a bass part, and let's just, as I say, MIDI. That's not bass, that's guitar. Bass, here you go. Bass. So I can always, in MIDI you can play, who joined us, you can play along with it while it's looped, just to get that feel down. So I'm going to now loop this so I can practice with it in discovering what kind of bass pattern I want. Change that chord. Okay, because this is MIDI and I'm showing this as an actual demonstration, I'm just going to throw in a bass pattern there. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and so there's the loop that took place. I'll fix those chords. Alright, let's see if I can fix that chord in there now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into MIDI editor and take that chord out right there. now I feel that chord offends me. So we take that out. And here's another thing that you can do with MIDI. I can now I can overwrite. I believe I have that turned on to overwrite what I have there. So let me just back this up a bit so I can feel the song as I get to that point. Let's see. Okay, see if I can time this correctly. I'm usually pretty good at this. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, and see how well we got that in there. I could hear the sustain because I didn't erase that out. All right. So took out what I had put there, and who just joined us? Hey, how you doing, Tremont? Welcome. So I took out the offending chord that I put in. I'm now not going to let another instrument join that. I'll just leave that straight together. But you see how I have not destroyed the entire piano track. In the bass track, I know there are errors in there. I'm going to leave them there. So, because again, I'm not making this perfect. I'm giving a demonstration of how much fun I had when I was doing MIDI files back in the early days, just creating MIDI files and posting nearly 100 MIDIs on the internet. All right, so let's minimize our editor window. We're pretty good there in the piano. So we've got our piano in, our bass in. Let's add a guitar. Now I'm not a guitar player, and my key guitar playing is suspect, but I still try. I know it's got to sound like a strum from left to right, left to right, right to left. All right, let's see what I can do. Get my keyboard strumming is suspect. You don't use it that much unless I'm doing a single note, so I may switch up. But you'll hear what's going on. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. For those who are guitar players out there, don't hate me. I just like to play along. I love adding electronic instruments into the sounds that I'm doing. So let's hear what we have. Again, MIDI creation. This is all electronic. There are no live acoustical sounds being made. Here we go. Play it back. from the top to top. Alright, so we've got that done. Now we've got technically 4 tracks done because our percussion came preset in Pro Tools. We need to add drums. And for that, I'm going to go to my Easy Drummer because I just downloaded a new drum pack from Easy Drummer, Fusion Gospel. I've been wanting to get a chance to try that. So you can't see me doing this. I am creating a new track within Pro Tools. I didn't want to create a new window to show you doing that. I may do that some of the case. We're going to call it stereo. I'm going to give it an instrument track. I'm going to call it Easy Drum. Okay, you should see it created there. Easy Drum, where is it? Okay, it's on the bottom. I'm going to drag up Easy Drum and put it along with the other MIDI files. Pro Tools, you can do this. As you can see, I'm dragging up Easy Drum. So that's the Easy Drummer, and it is going to be a VST drummer. So let me go in and set up the instrument. Multi-channel instrument, Easy Drummer, where are you? There you go. So I'm bringing up, and I've shown this in the past, my Easy Drummer file. I should bring that window in so you can see what it looks like. This is what technology has brought us to. I'll create a new window so you can see what I'm working with. Easy Drummer. No, that's not what it is. So where are you, Easy Drummer? Forgive all that stuff right there. That's not Easy Drummer. I'm trying to find it. What's it called? It has no name. Let's see if I can find it in here. Spotlight item? No, it's not a spotlight item. OBS item 0. No, that's not it. Why can't I find it? I've done this in the past. I know it's not you. You want to know what my system is doing. That's what that's used for. Okay, let's cancel this. And let's redo it. Window capture. Okay, it doesn't look like it's gonna let me add that window in. Alright, you'll just have to hear it. So I've got the window open for my drums. I'm going to use let's see which Gospel Fusion kit, straight 4/4 intro. See what we get. So you're hearing the Easy Drummer intro. I always and they allow you to test it out to see which variation you want. Maybe. Okay. Variation 4. This is just the intro. Who joined? Oh, thank you. I'm gonna go with variation 3. Let that open it up. So we pull an Easy Drummer. We pull variation 3 into our MIDI track window for the first. Let me see how far this is gonna go. Because we're only working with 17 tracks, I believe. The first 8, and switch up to okay, so that's good for the first 8 beats. Let's bring in the next one. Nope. It's kind of still the intro, so let's bring in the other one. Variation 1. Alright, we'll bring in variation 1. Alright, so that's going to take care of all the beats for the first loop. Alright, so I've got my drummer in place. 2 variations. Let's hear what we sound like. So it's missing something. So we go in and we change it. Okay. Let's pick another intro section. This is gospel pop from variation. Alright, I like that. Variation 3. You always want to try them. You want to try them all out. See which one matches what you're looking for. This is, again, these are intro beats under the Easy Drummer Gospel Fusion pack. I like that hi-hat. So we'll give the gospel variation 3 the first 8 measures. Right. And what's variation 4 sound like? And we'll give variation 4, variation 5 feel like. Because sometimes the drummer changes your chord patterns. All right, variation 5. So let's hear what we sound like now with a different drum. Need to turn off the click in the background. Again, this is what happens when you have too much. You start getting greedy. I want more of a variation in this. So let's go to verse. Here we got. I want that snare in there. Verse 2. Variation 3. Who joined? Variation 4. I like that. 5. I like that too. Variation 6. Let's go with 4 and 6. So let's drag in variation 4 into our drummer and variation 6 into our drummer. And let's see, let's loop it so we can hear how it's going to work in a loop. And like any MIDI song that you create it in stages. This is the intro. Create the intro, then you do the verse, then you do the chorus, you do the vamp tag, and in each stage you create first, and then you bring it all together. Or you can bring it all together, and then you can go in and copy and paste to extend it. That's what I meant to say. So let's loop all of this. I still haven't added organ yet. Okay, here we go. Of course, shameless plug. You can go to our site and download your own Sound of Joy from our store. Not just our own shirts, but your own pewter mug. Shameless plug. Loop. Joined. Now I can let this play, and I can put something behind it. So that's the MIDI. That's the world of MIDI. I can of course control the panning of all the instruments, and I think if I were to pan them, you would be able to hear it if you have stereo headphones on. Let me go in. I've got to go into get our drummer out of the way. Let's pan the bass to the left. Let's pan the guitar to the right. Leave the piano in the middle. Let's leave our drum where it's at. Bring our bass up a little bit. He's pan to the left, pan to the right. See what we got. I hear the separation in my headphones. So what I'm going to do is go in and redo the bass. Now that I've got a drummer there, let's put the bass back in the middle again. To record on the bass, let's turn off the overwrite, turn back on that. A little more funkier, you say, with the bass. Go 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and. Change the whole feel of what I was doing on the bass, because now that I got a drummer in the background, I wasn't mimicking the bass drum rhythm using a bass. Now the bass is more freer to play. Let's see what we got. Mistake there. Just throwing a little bit of organ potentially back there. Questions? I'm not sure how many are still in the room. Let me just do a search on my page. I'm not sure who's watching from the YouTube's, from the Facebook side. But I'm looking in from the YouTube side. I don't see any questions. Oh, Sub-Zero, welcome. Welcome. Creating MIDI files. This is all MIDI related. There's no analog instrument sounds or wave files being built. It's all MIDI, which means mistakes can be made and cleaned up instantaneously without having to re-record a whole version of it. I haven't done a lot of MIDI work. It's been a while since I've done a lot of MIDI work. So I'm sort of looking at as I create my next musical productions, not only saving them as an audio file, but also as a MIDI file, because I've had the question come up sometimes, do you have a MIDI of this? I wish I had a MIDI of this so I can tear it apart, and I generally have never done that. more of a thing where once I'm ready to record a piano piece, I just start recording this. That the inspiration is there. Let's just jump right into it. So I'm sort of looking at again, um, being creative on the MIDI side of things and using this song. Just Want to Praise You. It's just a basic song, but now that I've got, as I say, so many parts of this built, now my ears are telling me go in and change this, go in and change that. So I'm going to change the piano part. Piano part is gone. It's not gone forever. I can always undo this, but because I'm getting more comfortable, I'm going to put in a whole different feel for the piano part. Listen, here we go. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and. Crazy City. But that's what you can do with, this is what you can do with MIDI. That up. All right. So many mistakes in it. Just wiped it out again. Let's try this again. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Chord. Nope. Not the chord I wanted. Here's the chord I wanted. Yeah. That again. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and. This time I got more in sync with the bass, but a lot freer with the piano. Musicians do this. So you're hearing what happens in the mind of a musician. I think I had gotten a post once where the one of the comments was, "I wish I could hear what's going on in your head when you're playing." Well, MIDI allows me to share what's happening in my head. If you've been watching from the beginning, you saw when I started, I basically just started layering down the idea, knowing that it was never going to stay like that. But I needed a platform to place every other instrument. So, and once I've got them placed, especially the drum really always should be the first placement. But then I like to make the drum the last placement because I'll start to work off what the drum is doing, which is right now I'm working off the bass and the snare and the hi-hat from the piano standpoint. So if I were doing this as a track for a church, they wouldn't get all of that. They'd get the basic generic, here's the opening intro, and then start singing behind it. But as an instrumentalist, if I were creating this as an instrument track for myself, just to, add to a background of something I'm doing, maybe a video, then you would get all of this and more and more. Who else has joined us? I'm monitoring from my iPad so I don't miss anybody. I think we've got 5 that are actually watching. So you're seeing the whole process of putting this all together. I just changed the piano track, guitar left alone, changed the bass track, I added my drummer. I don't have an organ track, and you got to have an organ track in there. So instead of using the Hammond BX3, which is what I would normally use, I'm going to use the stock organ that comes with Pro Tools, because it is what it's going to be. It's just an organ track. So let's create another track. New. It's going to be stereo, of course. It'll be instrumental. Give its name, organ. As you see, it just popped in there. Now, I haven't used the stock organ track in this in a while, so I'm going to have to find it in here. Instrument, what are they called it now? Multi-channel plugin, instrument. Searching for the organ. I forget what the thing is called. Midi Grand, I know what that's called. DB33, was that it? Stereo. Is that it? Yes, that's the organ. DB33. And you don't see it. But this is the stock organ that comes with Pro Tools. So let's adjust the drawbars. Okay, this is not the level of organ that I use. Okay. I can change the cabinet. What cabinet are they giving me? Input, tune, preamp, mic, speed control, master. We'll stay stock with everything. So this is the Pro Tools organ. You do get a Leslie effect with it also, and percussion. Let's turn percussion on. Soft. Second. Let's go for the third. A little more high. Alright, so I'm going to throw in a basic organ behind it. Again, if I were using the Hammond BX3 organ, I might do a little more with it. So let's get the organ in there. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and basic to the point. And again, as you can see, the organ track is also a MIDI file. So if there's some parts in there I didn't like, I can go right in and change it, or as you see me do in the past, eliminate it all the way. All right, so let's move this out of the way so I can come in here and loop this. Here we go. So now you have primarily, you really have the whole song in a sense just from the intro part. So I'm going to show you what MIDI allows you to do. Now I've got all these tracks done. They go from 0 to 17. We're going to copy all these tracks and I'm going to paste them. Come on now. Paste them all right after where we put in there. Paste. Okay, you only pasting one because I didn't select them all down. Here we go. Paste. And now we've just got more than one version of it. Our drummer stops because our drummer has to be told that we now have another 17 tracks of music there. So we got to go to our drummer and tell it that I included another set of tracks there. So now we can change the beat on the drummer. Let's see. Let's change. Nope, not you. So we're going to add you into our another 17 beats. We add you in, and let's see, what do you got here? Nope. Nope. Who joined? Yes, add you. So now we've just added more drumming to match what we've just done. And I'm going to remove now let's keep the bass there. Here we go. From the beginning. All right, so my brother's just come into the room. My oldest brother, Virgis Talbot, the senior member of my family, the oldest, the one who I have to report to when I'm a bad boy. He's asking what type of style guitar am I using. I'm using a stock acoustic guitar from Pro Tools. They have a lot of stock instruments which give you a realistic sound. Was I going to add sax in this demonstration where I'm showing the how you can put together MIDI files, where you can create a song virtually from nothing and then make your changes and adjustments really on the fly. I could add a saxophone in there, a MIDI one, because again, outside of the drumming, I can export this as a complete MIDI file to anyone. And if they use general MIDI instruments, every instrument will be in its place. So let's add a saxophone. Let's add a saxophone. Not a hard thing to do. Let's pick the spot where we're going to put you. Pick right here. And add a track to do, because it's a saxophone, it doesn't have to be stereo, it could be mono. Do instrument track. Okay, and we'll call it saxophone. Usually I like to use the, let's go with a tenor sax. T sax. And let's slide you over so you're in the MIDI range. There we go. And we're gonna go into plugins to instrument, and we're gonna have to look in Expandy 2. That is where the sounds are kept. You don't see all that because that's be opening a lot more windows. Bright pads. Let's look for brass and woodwinds. Nope. Saxes would not be in brass. It'd be in. Oh, that would be in woodwinds. No, well, let me see. Flutes. Yeah, there it is in brass and woodwinds. Baritone sax, tenor sax. I want. There it is, tenor sax. All right, we got our tenor sax. See what we sound like. Fortunately, I was in a jazz band in high school, and I did sit near the row where the tenor saxes were, so I know their range. All right, got a nice breath sound to it. We'll only bring in the sax after the intro, so we go to our track, and we know that's going to come in at 17, so let's let 16 lead us into where we're going to put our sax sound. And let me see, 13. All right, here we go. Let it lead us in. And our saxophone. Alright, so because we're not looping this, that is just going to be in that area. Let's see, it comes in a little bit sooner than that, and let's see that. I take a musical stroll in your brain. This is what happens in my brain. Alright, so that was the first layer down of that. I'm going to, because I still have it in here, lay down another 8 beats of this, right? There they go. So that I can do more than what I did with that saxophone. Gives me, again, the tracks are the same. I got to remember to go to the drummer now and tell him that I've layered down another section of tracks. So we go to the drummer, and let's see, where are you? Come up, drummer. I'm building the drummer tracks in the Easy Drummer program, which is not tied into Pro Tools, but it will follow the path of Pro Tools. So that gives you a window where you can make changes in there without going to the actual program. So let's go to another variation. Variation 5. We'll add in, and you know what? I want to put a fill in there. So let's take that out. I want to put a fill leading into variation 5. So I'm doing this within Easy Drummer in Pro Tools. So I can go in and change or add in. I've just got to time it out. So let me see. Tell you what, let me have this play so I can time it out. Where am I at? I need to go to track 12. Here we go. I want to track 25. Okay, let me see. Right there. I want to put a fill in it, so I'm going into the drummer, changing, I'm erasing part of what he's doing, going to my fills, and basic fill. Oh, this goodness, 23 variations for fills. Number 3. Okay, so let's see how this works. Where I just went from. Later, so let's get this clear. Put that back, and it should start about here. I'll change it. Let me see a different one. To pick from. Nope. Go back a little bit. Variation 5. Alright, let's see. Bring it a little forward some, see what we got. Fill is in place, and now we go back and get another variation. Okay, variation 4. Right, because that's going to add to what we're already doing. And I need one more. Variation 1. Oh, verse. Go to verse. Not you. Verse from you. Variation 1. Alright, so we've got that labeled out. We threw another verse on there. From copy and paste. As you can see, each one of these that I'm showing you here is highlighted. These are all the first. These are all from the first one. I just pasted in the same thing, so I didn't have to change anything. But of course, I can go in and make changes to each of them. So what I wanted to do was to continuation of what the saxophone was doing. So I can get a little bit, as they say, jiggy with it. So we're overwrite mode so I don't mess up anything. And let's add another. Alright, get an idea what I want to do. Let's pick it up from the whole thing so I can sort of feel what the saxophone is doing. messy city. But again, this is demonstration. So we've got 49 measures done, but basically from working within the first 17 tracks. So if we were to go here and loop everything from the beginning, here's our intro. Do here is I'm going to redo the piano track when the horn comes in, because now I got a solo instrument. So let's get out of here. Piano track, we're going to delete, and I'm going to join it in here and put another track in to mimic this, to play behind now a sax track. We'll pick it up right here, and now you get to hear me think. So that's live playing behind instruments simulated. Here we go from the beginning. Turn that down so I can answer your questions. Is Pro Tools designed to be used by the novice pianist? I'm going to say Pro Tools, it's a more expensive program. Well, they're all pretty much now in that same $195 to $295 range. But they give you instruments that mimic and natural sounding pianos for it as what they call part of the actual production. Is this a piano I would normally use? No, I would generally go to one of my other pianos that I have that give a more fuller sound than this. But for a Midi file, it's going to, here I am talking about what I just did. There we go, I get that. But you can't go wrong using these tracks. Like I've done tracks where I've used these stock Pro Tools sounds, and when I finished the production, I loved the way it sounded. I didn't go time to my other go-to pianos. Let me stop talking in my next change. When I bought my first Apple, I bought it expressly for Protools. The Logic Pro was that is the end of where we are right now. As you can see, there's no ending on this, but because in Midi, I can create an ending anytime I want. Once the file is done, I can actually have it fade out. So as far as your question, Sub-Zero, about preference between Pro Tools and Logic Pro, I haven't tried Logic Pro. I have watched videos of people who do use Logic Pro, and a lot of their lingo that they talk to mimics what's in Pro Tools. Um, I wanted to be involved with the industry standard DAW, so that if any work came my way by someone who's also using Pro Tools, I wouldn't have to say, "Well, I'm not a Pro Tools. I'm a novice in Pro Tools. I don't know how to use it." No, I started with Cakewalk back in the early stages of Cakewalk. It's Sonar. It's turned to something now differently, but it used to be Cakewalk. Then it went to Sonar, and I kept upgrading each time those new versions came out. In fact, I had to upgrade the computer in order to keep up, which came kind of expensive. But I wanted to be knowledgeable in a software that I could use to further my quote unquote studio aspirations as a home studio musician. So when I settled on Pro Tools, I said bite the bullet, spend the initial I think it was $300 or $390 to get into Pro Tools, and then of course you're paying for the upgrades year by year. Right now, I am an actual. I have the Pro Tools subscription plan, so I pay a certain amount, and whatever the upgrades are, they are free. I can justify that with those of you who visit me on YouTube. You allow me to monetize my page as each time you visit, and you invite people to visit and view my videos. So that helps to pay for the Pro Tools subscription, so I can stay up to date with the latest software. Unfortunately, I have the M1 Mac with 8 GB, which will not allow me to run the latest version of Pro Tools, but I do have another Mac that has enough power to run the latest version of Pro Tools. So if a job, I know I talk a lot sometimes, if a job does come my way where I need the power of the latest version, which is Pro Tools Studio, that's on my other iMac across the way from me. Kind of messy down here. I'm not going to show you where it is, but I have the backup computer that has the full system already running and operational, and I even got equipment hooked to it. So if the work came my way, I'm not afraid of delving into it. But I may, when I upgrade the M1, I've got the basic M1. I wanted to try it out to see how well it works, and it works tremendously. It does have a quirk. Every 2 months I do get an error that everybody gets. But I'm looking to upgrade to the next version of the Mac Mini, the M2, probably 16 GB with, I'm still debating upon 1 TB or 512. I know I've got 1 TB on the system across the way there. But I'm looking to upgrade what I'm doing now, doing video, and this version of Mac Mini I have will not run Pro Tools with its video encoder attached to it. It basically chokes down the entire machine. That's why I will upgrade here, because I like this setup where you see me set right now. I like this setup I have, because it's been my setup for the last 20 years where I am right now. To change the room, you might say, would be culture shock to me, because I've grown into this space. But I'm not adverse to change. I've already envisioned in my mind moving the other system to where I am right now, and changing all the camera and the lighting of what you're looking at me now on my newest camera. As you can see, I can now do this on it. So I've already put the camera in place in anticipation of a new system or moving the other system here, so that I can use the better camera. Looking at the better microphone for my audio, and doing more, as you see me doing right now, just breaks down of what I do. In fact, I need to look and see how long have I been streaming. Over an hour. Okay. I don't mind how long I stream. I just want to make sure that I don't forget anyone. Just looking to see who's joined. See, all right, you were here. Did I see you? Yes, I did. Sub-Zero, and of course my brother came in. And those others, I see I've got 2 other who are here that didn't announce. But just to demonstrate this process. It is not something to be. I know my camera went out. Not something to be worried about. This is fun for me, which is why I wanted to do this now. I'm going to look at in remembrance when I do my next instrumental to turn Pro Tools on and just turn on the Midi, and just when I play, usually I don't. I play it straight through whatever song I'm doing. I don't stop and redo it unless I really make a major mistake. But as you can see with a MIDI file, I can easily stop and start and delete the mistake and just keep playing. I've actually done that where I've just kept playing and took the best parts. Even what I just did right now, there were a whole lot of mistakes in that piano part. If I were to go back and play just the piano for what I just put in there, let's solo that. There were a whole bunch of mistakes. Let's see, if I mute just the solo, just the piano and the sax, you hear a ton of mistakes. Second time around, mistakes around. Yeah, right there, mistakes. So if I were to go back in here and let's delete that portion where I messed up at and stay just with the saxophone and me, no drums, and let's see if I can clean that up. No tracks were enabled. You're right, none were enabled. There it is, piano. And I'll just let my head go and just work with that. 2, 3. Let's see if I can clean this up. And so I just changed that last portion right there. Let's delete that down because that came out too much. Come on, clean that up. Right there. And let's see how it sounds with everybody from right here. that's that. It's not finished, of course, but it is for demonstration. And there's the beginning. So I've got my intro in there. See if I can move around or pan some of the sounds in MIDI, of course. Saxophone comes in. Back to the beginning. And that is the world of MIDI. I always, even as a child, when I began to get the concept of music into my head, the actual theory behind how to play a note I heard someone else play because I did not know how to play it. I've been having fun. For those who say, well, as you get older, you become slower. As you can see, I have not slowed down. I'm 66 years old, and my mind is as active, as intuitive, as what new can I do with this chord. You may hear me replaying certain chords because I love the way those chords sound. Let me see. Turn the piano back on. You hear that chord a lot because I love the way that chord sound. Because there's so many songs that when I first heard that chord played in a particular song, I said I'm gonna borrow that and put it in this song. Borrow it and put it in this song. Borrow that same chord and put it in this song, and it always seems to fit no matter what key I'm in. Now I'm here and I'm in F doing it, but I can change. Put it in a different key. So it depends upon the song I'm in. That chord will find its way into anything that I'm playing because I just like the way it sounds. But again, that's this song, and of course because this is just an example or a test. I can delete all of this and not feel bad because I can redo it in a matter of seconds. Well, it's not seconds, but the matter of less than a half an hour. I can redo all of this, all of the piano part, bass part, the organ part, and change it. Give it a different feel. The drummer, again, it's an easy drummer program. So I can actually go. Well, you saw me. I did change put a fill in it. I didn't hear the fill. Should have heard the fill when I came over here. Phil should have come in. Let me pick up. Look at Easy Drummer. Where was the fill at? I should have heard it. Maybe because I don't have the drum turned up loud enough. Easy Drummer. Where are you, Easy Drummer? Here we go. Where's that fill at? Measure 32. Supposed to be a fill there. Let's go back to measure 32. Let's go back to measure 30. A solo out drummer. Where's that fill at? Okay, that's not right. Measure 30. Just a drummer. Alright, we messed that up, didn't we? Measure 30. Alright, that's from the beginning. I want measure... Alright, so there's our fill. Put that back where it should be. I didn't hear that because I didn't have it long enough. Let me see. How much longer should it have been? One, two, three, four. How much of a fill should I have had there? Let's see. Needed a longer fill there. So, again, I'm doing this in Easy Drummer. That was my next question too. What was your next question, Burgess? Let's give it a little more space for a fill there. Let's see. Alright, put this variation there next to that variation. Drag this back in to close it up, and let's see what we got. What don't sound right? Let's put the music with it. Let's see, right here. Give me piano and drum. Should have come a little earlier than that. Let's see. There a little bit earlier than that what I did, so let's undo this and let's see what we got here. Alrighty. Show some love to the drummer. Show some love to the drummer. You always want to do that. Show some love to the drummer. Let's put you right at the bottom. Alright, Give the drummer 2 fills. Alrighty, and let's loop this. Bring in everybody. Saxophone. Fill. Not yet. Coming up on the fill. At 30, 29, 32. Change that saxophone. Alright, I'm gonna change the saxophone. Again, I'm not a saxophonist, but I know when I'm faking it with faking it using a keyboard. But I can do better than that. Now that I hear where it's coming from, and we want to work with the bass and the drum. That's what I want to work with. So bass and the drum and wait, where are you? Yeah, bass and the drum, and put our saxophone down. So let's lead up to it. Why am I not hearing it? Because I selected. Okay. And this is what you do. You always hear something that you don't like, and Midi allows you to go in and change it. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, pick up from where it's going to come in. Where's the... Here we go, saxophone. Coming before that bass come in. I gotta think like a saxophone player and a singer. 2. Again. It's a matter of just thinking and being free in what you're doing. Here my bass player leading me into it, and my drummer hanging right there. Here we go, and left out a note. Alright, so a little cleaner. A little cleaner. Bring everybody back in. What do we do? Let's see. And I'll bring this to a close after this one. Alright, bringing this to a close, I'm going to add acoustic congos. Now that I'm using the sounds from the keyboard, turn that off. Sounds from my keyboard in order to mimic that sound. And we're going to select an audio track which has stereo, that's audio 1. We'll name it. I'll give it congas. If I spelled that correctly. Activate it. Check the level. A little more. Down a little bit. And let's do it from the very beginning. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and. No, I'm not going to have a call and response because this is just to really, just to demonstrate the MIDI production um, process. This file will just probably go into my, I think I named it MIDI template. So it's just for instruction now, but when I begin to create MIDI files, this will be the place I go to let that be the echo to my playing live. I normally would have done the um, percussion sounds MIDI wise, but there's no general MIDI setup that I've looked for in Pro Tools. They have their own way of stacking sounds. I'm sure if I were to have just created just a basic MIDI file, whatever instrument I use, and exported it, it would default to the general MIDI, which is track 10, I believe, in the general MIDI world. But yeah, that's as far as I'm going to go. As I said, I've been here over an hour now, but I'm always open to any kind of questions by those that are here. Let's just hear it back now with the additional audio instrumental sound. Let's go back to the beginning. I turned that down a bit to say that to highlight the fact that you can, in a production world, you can mix MIDI and audio in Pro Tools. You're not just limited to one sound or another. And as you can see, I have not used any external VST instruments other than the Easy Drummer to give me a locked drummer with hundreds of beats that I could select, and I can easily go in and drag and drop out the actual beats. One I may take out is the Latin drummer flare that's in there, because it was clashing with what I put in with my congas. I can hear it clashing. I hear that clash, and I will probably go in and just take that out and copy the other beat that's in there. You're welcome, Sub-Zero. One thing I can't do is sing. Otherwise, I will also play that on vocal tracks. I don't like that second sax track either. And boom. That is the production, the techniques that I've used since the beginning. Now, am I, again, an expert in MIDI production? I'm an expert in sound placement. I can hear when something isn't right when I create it, and so I allow myself the space. What's the word I want to use? I have a license to change anything I create. As you see, I started with one piano, changed it to another, and when I began to stack each of the changes and added additional instruments, I changed it again because I'm allowed to do that. When when you are the originator of your music, you write the story, not someone else. Now, for those who can appreciate, those who like me who tear apart music, I would probably listen to this and go, yeah, that guy, he got the wrong bass pattern. He should have this bass pattern. Why is this bass going high when it should be going low? Why did he pick that bass sound? I'm using stock instruments in Pro Tools. They were set up for the bass sound. I would use a much deeper bass sound. If I were doing this from my instruments from my keyboard, let me just pull up where my favorite bass sound would be. Bass. I have favorites. Active P is one. Active bass. That would have been my that would have been my actual go-to bass sound. That's where I would have gone to, which I can still do because it is a MIDI file. And I should show you that since the bass is a MIDI file, I can take that file and send it to my keyboard. Let's just do that. This is all part of it. So we're gonna go to bass file, take all of it, copy it. Now how did I used to do this? I gotta create an instrument track, right? New. Instrument track or MIDI track? Gotta remember how I do this. Mono. I haven't did this in a while. MIDI track. Alright. Now we're gonna call this bass 2. Where are you gonna put it? Down here. Okay, that's a good place to put it. So I'm gonna paste everything I just did here into that track. Okay. So there's a track called bass 2. Let me drag it up so you can see it. I got so many open windows. Okay. We're gonna drag up and we'll put it after that. So that's bass 2. That is a MIDI track, but there's no instrument assigned to it. So I will go into my software and I should be able to assign, here we go. Let's assign it to channel channel 3. Alright, I just assigned it to channel 3. I go to my keyboard, I select multiplay. I go to channel 3, which is a harpsichord. But I want bass, so we go into here, we change it to select bass. And then we select my go-to bass. Let's pick passive, right? Okay, now it should be, let's mute the bass that was originally done, and let's see if I got it correctly. It should go to my keyboard bass. That's my keyboard bass now playing. And you can hear how much deeper it is. That was me. No work, no hard work there. And I can change that bass sound as it's playing. magic of MIDI. I am not limited to the sounds that are in Pro Tools. I can take that MIDI file and assign it to my Yamaha or to any keyboard that has tracks available to it. If I remember right, the way around this for me is that I can create an audio track of my keyboard by just creating another track and routing the audio from my routing this audio to another track, and then I can record that. Again, let me just cover that. We have let's see. I'll take we'll create a new track. New mono audio track sample. We're gonna call it bass 2. Create. You should see bass 2/1. Gonna make that an audio file, and we're gonna go and get it from. Gonna get the sound directly from my keyboard, from the MIDI that's here. We're gonna go and mute, or rather gonna solo the MIDI track I made. Solo this track, put it on record, and now we're gonna record that bass track. Boom. Would help if I hit record, wouldn't it? Here we go. There we go. So what you are watching is the MIDI track that I created under Pro Tools, copied it, assigned it to the bass in my keyboard, and now I'm creating a audio track using what my keyboard has, exactly mimicking what the MIDI file does. So if I want to change the sound of my bass, all I gotta do is pick another instrument and create another audio track from that very same MIDI track. And if I don't like the MIDI track, I can go in and change that. So you're watching the audio file of a MIDI signal being fed through the keyboard and then recorded in as a mono file, because the bass player doesn't have stereo. In this way, I think I can record 96 tracks in this version of Pro Tools, so I can make 5 different levels of bass and pick and choose which one I want to use at any given time in an actual production. Oh, you're welcome. Again, I'm the musician who hides nothing. It's more than just learning how to play the notes, but how can you now put your ideas, get your ideas out there and create your own productions. And I can do this with any sound, with the organ, with the drums, or with the drums too. And stop. So now unmute those. Let's mute the MIDI bass I made and mute the organ is already muted. Let's unmute the percussion. And now we'll hear back with the audio bass now. bring us to a close. Thank you, thank you, thank you, those who have been watching. Participation from CL Wright, Sub Zero, my brother Vergis. He also coming on us. Thank you for spending some time with me and letting me share in this another way of which I create music. Not only do I teach the interpretation of traditional gospel music, hymns, spirituals, but I also delve into helping you become your own producer. One thing I do love is to hear musicians put together their ideas separate from 100 other people's input. As you can see, I am my only input to what I do musically, and if I wanted to change it on the fly in this format with Midi, I could change it either in piecemeal or the entire thing, and bring it back. In fact, I will do again what everybody should do when you're dealing with electronics is always save. Now all this has been saved. Will I keep it? Probably not. But it is a lesson which I put together, which I may just leave here and then just go to another stretch down the track. As you can see, I can come here and create a whole new set of music right here. Let's see. I always like to close out with a song. So let's see if I can close out in a different track here with a song and record it as I would if I were playing. Let's see, what song would I put? And what song would I want here as my closing? Turn my volume up. Volume's a little low there. Again, thanks for those who have come in and who have participated. Let's see, what kind of song can I use? What key can I go to? Just trying to think songs without offending a copyright. I'll use that one. You can hear my thoughts on this song. Let's turn off the counter. Can't do that, right? I had the loop turned on. Okay, saved as a MIDI file. So when I start doing other productions, I will remember to come back to this page, even though I made a ton of mistakes in that one because I was sort of doing it off the cuff. But it'll be a lot cleaner than that. And then if anyone wanted to tear apart with a MIDI file every note that I'm playing, you certainly be able to do that. I will somehow make that available for the asking, because it would be just a lesson file and not one you'd want to take and sing to. Anyway, Sam Tolbert, Sound of Joy Music Services. Thank you once again, those who have come in, those who will be viewing this restream. As always, if you have questions, please post them and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Take care now. Be blessed. Bye.